Hi everyone, it's Dawn Duvall coming to you from Fort Myers, Florida. Actually, this is recorded. As most of you all know, we are out of the country, and I wanted to make sure that I continued with our Facebook Lives. Of course, this is going to be Facebook recorded. And I told you earlier, a couple weeks ago, that I had made a cover to a notepad, and I wanted to share that with you. So I thought this would be a great time to do this. So I'm going to do a little bit of talking and go over a few things, and then we'll get started, just for those that may be popping in. And if you missed the beginning of this, then just go back and start from the beginning. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a repeat watcher, welcome as well. If you don't mind, please make sure that you share the video. And then if you're on YouTube watching this, make sure that you click the subscribe button and ring the bell to make sure that you're notified every time I upload a video. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you don't mind sharing this with your crafty friends, that would be even better. So let's get started. And this really isn't that difficult, but there's a lot of pieces to it. So we're going to go slow. I'm going to give you all the measurements. I'm going to try to put together a tutorial. I'm recording this, so I may have that. I'll let you know when it gets posted if there's a tutorial or not. So just, you might need to take notes. Okay, let me go ahead and flip the camera down, and then we will get started. And I'll go over all of the pieces that we need. And let me get my notes out because I have a lot of notes. Bear with me just a second. I'm trying to get myself organized. Okay, let me flip the camera down. So here is a notepad. I'm going to try to cover, whoopsie, I'm going to try to cover up this, hang on one second, I'm going to cover up this little light shining right there. Okay, all right, this is a really neat, this would make a great gift. So you've got, Father's Day's coming up, so if your father or a male in your life likes to, you can do this using some of our masculine papers. But you've got other things, you've got birthdays, anniversaries or whatever. So this is for a small 5x7 notepad. So what I've done is you will need some Velcro circles, and I'll give you that information as well. But you open it up, and then we're going to decorate all of these different pages. And then this is the pocket that the notepad will slide into. So the cardboard piece, as you see, is going to slide into this pocket that we're creating right here. Okay, so we're going to slide that right in. That's going to hold our paper, and then it's going to tuck right in there, and then we're going to decorate it and dress it up, and there you go. Isn't that cute? And now, again, there's a lot of pieces to it, so I'm going to take my time, and we're going to get started. All right, so the first thing that we need, let's go through the cardstock. If you want to take notes, but I'm hoping to have a tutorial made, but this is Saturday, May 25th that I'm recording, and we're leaving on June 1st. So I don't have a lot of time to get all this stuff done, but I will do my best. All right, so we're going to need 3 pieces of cardstock, and you want that to be all the same color. And let me put my little thing right back there, because now it's shining on that light is shining. It's my light here shining on my thing. Okay, so you're going to need 8.5 by 11. I'm using Lost Lagoon. All right, so we want an 8.5 by 11. Now on the long side, we are going to score at 3, 9, and 9 1/4. All right, so we're going to put this in the paper trimmer and scoring tool. And we're going to line this up at 3 inches. All right, so we want to do, the long side. That would help if I did the long side, right? Because that wouldn't work. All right, long side at the top. We're going to do 3, 9, and 9 1/4. So we're going to score at 3 inches. Make sure you get your score, not your cutting blade. All right, so we're going to do 3. We're going to move it over to 9 and score. And then we're going to do 9 1/4. So we're going to move that over to the 1/4 inch mark, and we're going to score that right there. Okay. Now we're going to set this off just to the side. We'll come back and fold all of these in just a minute. All right. And then the next piece you need is we need an 8.5 by 8 inch piece of cardstock, and we're going to score on the 8 inch side. So we want the 8 inch side at the top, because we want the 8.5 to go in alignment with the other piece that's going to extend our book base, okay? So on this one, we're going to score at 5 7/8. So we're going to move this over to 5 7/8, which is 5 3/4 plus 2 little lines. And let me move my cutting blade out of the way. So score at 5 7/8, and then we're going to slide it over to 6 1/8. So we've got 6 1/8 right there, which would be 6 plus the 2 lines, okay? Okay. Now let's push this out of the way. All right, now we're going to go ahead and fold the score lines where we're going to make our book, we're going to make the bind, the bind of the book. So the spine of the book, if you will. All right, so I'm going to fold these in. I didn't put a lot of pressure on there, did I? All right, let's get this one folded over so that, and I'm using my fingers to help with the score line just to make sure I've got it even. And we're going to push that down, and then we'll go ahead and give it a good burnish. And we'll do it on the same again on this one, because we want to make sure we get them nice and firm. This will be the other part of that spine. Okay, so there is the part of the spine. Okay, and then the last piece of cardstock is 8 3/8 by 6 7/8. Now on this one, on both of the long sides and the bottom, we're going to score this at a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to start, since I've got a 1/2 inch right there, so I'm going to do the right side at a 1/2 inch. All right, I'm going to flip this over, and we're going to do a 1/2 inch. Get it flipped over. Okay, 1/2 inch right there. And then I'm going to turn it, and we're going to do the bottom. So we only want the bottom. We're going to leave the top unscored, so it's going to stay at its regular length. All right, so this is the 8 3/8 by 6 7/8, and we scored a 1/2 inch on both sides and at the bottom. This is going to be the part where the this is going to be basically the holder for your notepad, okay? So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to move this out of the way just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and fold on all of our score lines, and then from there we'll move forward. So let's go ahead and we'll get all these scored, and then I'll go through the paper. I'm just going to fold them down, and then we'll come back and go through what we need to cut and what we don't need to cut and all that. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold this one in, because I know we're going to have to cut some corners off, but we'll do that in just a moment. So we're going to do that, and then this is the one that we only did the 2 score lines. So this is going to be the binder. So this is going to be like the edge of the book. That's the inside piece that's going to hold our notepad. So this will be the piece that's where our notepad is going to line up. All right, and we're going to go right here, make sure this is straight, and we're going to go ahead and push our bone folder down, and then we'll do the other side. And as you can see how it is creating a spine. All right, so there's that one. And then this piece, which we scored at 3, 8, and 9. So the same thing, we're going to score fold these in. This is this is going to be where this will butt up with the other piece that we just did. So this will be this is going to make the length of our cardstock to meet what we need to hold our binder and decorate it nice and pretty. So I'm folding in those 2 areas where we did the score lines at the 3, 9, and 9 and 3, 9, and 9 1/4. So we have that, and then this is going to be the 3-inch mark right here. So let me fold this one in right here. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. And then I'm going to give you, and then we'll put, excuse me, we'll put this together in just a minute. And one of the other things, all right, well, let's go ahead and do this first. All right, we're going to take the full size, which is this one, and we are going to, we want the 8, we're going to add we're going to add this one, pardon me. Now, we're going to take this with our large piece that we did where we scored the 3, 9, and 9 1/4. We're going to add this piece in here. So this is we're going to line up this right at the same where this spine is, and that's going to extend our booklet so that we will have a longer piece to be able to fold and do our our pieces. Now what I'm going to do, once I adhere it this way, I'm going to turn this around because this is going to be on my right side because that's going to be our flap. But for now, we're going to go ahead and line this up right here. So I am going to put a little piece of tear tape right here, and right on that bind, on this where I did the scoring, and our tear tape fits just perfectly. So I'm going to put some right here, and then we're going to peel it off, and we're going to adhere this to our other piece, and then we will move forward with getting our book base together, if you will. So let's cut that off. All right, and we're just going to give this a good smooth there. Now you have to be careful when you're using the tear and tape, but you're going to need this tear and tape, and you're going to need a corner rounder too, just to let you know. All right, so let me get my tear and tape off. All right, now once you stick this down, it doesn't move, so just make sure when you stick it, you've got exactly where you want it to go. So what I'm going to do, and it's going to be a little awkward for you all to look at, I'm going to line this up at, oops, I got to turn it around because, see, I almost messed it up. I'm going to turn it towards me, and I've got the longer piece out so that we'll extend our thing, our page, and I'm going to line this up where I've got the second right with the spine that we have scored so that it will stick. I'm going to place it right down in there. I'm going to do this very gently, and this is just whatever makes it work for you. I'm just going to try to line it up in that area and move it over, get it in between my score lines, and it looks like I'm pretty even. Let me make sure. So this is where you want to just take your time laying it down. And once you've got it in position, then just go ahead and flatten it. And if it's off a little bit, it's okay. It's not going to be that big of a deal, all right? So there is the start of our book. Now I'm going to move it this way because this is going to be my right side because this is going to be my flap, okay? So we've got this right here. Use the corner rounder. So we've got to get our corner rounder out, and we are going to round all four corners. Yes, we're going to round all four corners. So I'm going to use this, I think this is retired. So this one, you just lay it in. You get your cardstock pushed in there all the way so it's reaching the corner. And once we've got it in there, then you just push down flat and it rounds the corner. Let me see why mine's not cooperating. Let's try that again. We've got to get our cardstock in there. There we go. I didn't have it pushed in. You want to make sure you get it in both sides and then just push straight down. Use whatever corner rounder you have. It doesn't matter. You could have, you know, just as long as you've got some kind of corner rounder, that will work. And we're just going to round all four of these corners. So we want to make sure we've got our paper in that at an angle on both sides that are even. We'll push that down, and then we've got one more. And I want to make sure it's lined up, butted up on each side, and we'll push that down. All right, so now we have our corners rounded. All right, okay, let's move this out of the way, put our corner rounder over there. Okay, now, then we're going to start with our DSP. All right, so let me come back and we'll finish this up. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to glue this down on this side because this is going to be the back side of our book. That will be fine. This is going to be hidden with our inside piece. I'm going to glue this down so it covers the front, and this is going to be hidden once we add our designer paper. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to add some adhesive to this so you're not going to see this either. I'm going to use my Tombow. We're going to add our Tombow. We're just going to go all the way down and make sure you've got, you know, you put enough on here to make sure it's going to stay, but this is going to be covered up with our designer paper, okay? All right, so we're going to push this down, and we're going to put that right there. And that's going to be covered, so we don't need to worry about that. And this one will be covered. We're going to cover this one as well. Actually, this will be covered, so let's go ahead and put this flap down. So let's go ahead and glue this part down as well. And again, this one's going to be covered with paper as well as the body that's going to be our flap. The piece that our book will go into, our notepad. Okay, so we've got those down. All right, so now there's the start of our book. And this one, we just want to make sure we get our score lines, you know, nice and firm. We'll get those straightened out. Once we get all the paper on there, we can adjust these score lines as we need to. All right, now let's put this off to the side for just a minute because now we're going to come in with our designer paper. and I'm going to give you the measurements for that as well. All right, so you're going to need at least 2 to 3, if not 4. It depends on how many options you want to have. I'm using this paper, which carried over from last year's catalog, the perennial designer paper. So I've cut this. You need 2 at 8 1/4 by 5 3/4. So I cut, this is going to be the front of my card, and I did a different piece for the inside. So this will be the front of the notebook. So it's going to go like this, right? And then this piece, which is the same size, is another piece that I cut, and we're going to flip that over, and it's going to go on the inside of the book like that. All right. And then we need, and this is another different piece of paper. This one is cut at, hang on a minute, inside middle, 5 7/8. So 5 7/8 by 7 7/8. All right. So that's going to go on here. Well, actually, it's going to go on this little piece right here, because once we've attached this, then we're going to adhere that to the inside with our little flappy doos, and this is going to make our slot where our notepad's going to go. Okay, so you're going to need that piece will go on top of that, so that's going to go on the inside here, and then we're going to need another piece. Actually, we need 2 pieces. You can do 1 piece or 2. It's up to you. I did 2. Now these are 1.5 inches by 8 1/4, and I just took the same piece of paper, this design, and well, however it's lined up, this design, and I'm going to flip them over. So I'm going to have one on one side and then the other, and I'll probably put that like that. So I'm going to put those like this, and we're going to do some corner rounding on these as well. So that, and they'll overlap just a little bit on the inside, and then we're going to use some ribbon once we get all of this adhered to finish decorating our our book cover. So that is how I'm going to have mine. Now you can just do 1 piece, which would be, if you didn't want to do the 2 pieces, then just make it, let's see, half 3, 1, 2, 3 by 8 1/4. So just do 3 inches by 8 1/4, no big deal. And I think that's all the DSP. Oh, and then we're going to have one more piece, which is going to be our front flap. And this piece is 2 3/4 by 8 1/4. And so when we fold our book over, and you can do this however you want, then I'm either going to have it like this, or I can have my checkers showing. I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of leaning towards this way, and then putting my sentiment here with our ribbon, but I haven't decided yet. So we'll decide on that in just a few minutes. Okay. All right. So those are the pieces that you'll need for cutting. All right. Now we need to bring the corner rounder in again. We want to round these corners, just the top right side. All right, so we just want the top right and bottom right corners. So I'm going to put the top right in here, and I'm going to, whoops, I did the wrong one. Dadgummit, I did that the other day. I used this little fancy thing. I really didn't want to do that, so let's see if we can fix that. And we'll have I guess we're going to have little holes there. I might as well do it and match it up. It's not what I meant to do, so let me go ahead and use the same one. If you've got one of these 3, the tri-corner punches, make sure you use the right design. So I've just cut little dots out. It's okay. It'll still work. It rounded it. It just adds some extra special to it. So you'll see the cardstock down below. No big deal. All right, so that's going to go on the front. And actually, this one did not even round it. So I'm going to punch this in again, because it should have cut that out. Well, maybe I need to use the corner rounder. Let me do that. Do that too. That way we get it rounded as well. We just put a little cutesy little design on it, which is fine. Let's go ahead and add this to the front of the card. Let me move these out of the way. All right. I swear, when I don't use the glue, it sits on this table when I do my Facebook Lives, it always dries up, and I need to make sure I cover it, and I keep forgetting to do that. So that's all right. We're going to get some glue on this bad boy. Put some down here around the corners, so we make sure all of this stays. I'm squeezing really hard because it's not coming out very well. And we'll put a dot there. We want to make sure we get all of this covered, and then I'm going to put some on the inside as well, because we want this to stay. And you can use your you want to use your seal, you can use that as well. I'm just going to use this. All right, so we're going to decorate the top of our book cover. And we're going to place this right here. And we'll line it up and just use your eyes and adjust it how you see as far as your top and the bottom. And then you'll have a little bit of an edge, just a slight edge on the right hand side. All right, so there's our piece. I think that looks pretty. So now we're going to adhere our, let's see, to the flap. So we're going to go ahead and do, I don't know, I'm going to hold off on the flap until I get the other pieces in because I'm not sure how I want to do that. Take this piece here and I'm going around the left corners and I'm going to put this one on here. Now let's make sure I use the right corner rounder. I want the round, not and I want my lines to go up. So I need to do the left this side and I need to do the bottom left. So we're going to do left on both and then we'll do this one here. All right, and then this one will be ready to add to this piece right here. So we're going to add that and we're going to add our adhesive. Oh, I hate covering this up. Isn't this gorgeous paper? Don't you just love this? I'm so glad it carried over. This is in the annual catalog. All right, so we're going to put this on the left side, a little bit on the side of the score line, and I think we should be good. So I've got that there, and I just want to make sure when I tack it down, it's right on the edge of the score line, and just make sure you pay attention where your score line is, okay? So I'm going to lift it up, and there's my score line, so that's why I'm trying to make sure I get my paper right next to it. There we go. All right, there we go. Now we're good. All right, and then we're going to push that down. So now it's not going to affect our folding of our book, okay? Now I got glue all over my fingers, but that's okay. All right, so we got this one done. All right, now this is the one that we're going to put right in here, which is going to hold our book page. So I'm going to cut these corners right here because we want to fold these in. So I'm just going to cut up to the score line and then just take like a little triangle piece out so that it will fold in nicely. All right, so we're just going to cut up the score line and then just cut a little off on the inside. And then that should take care of that. And we're going to add tear and tape to this. Now here we have this. Now we can put something here if you want to put another piece of paper to cover that. That's where our flap came in on the inside. But once we put this on here, this is going to be attached, and I'll show you in just a second. We're going to fold the corners in, and we're going to attach this with tear and tape. So once we set this on here, it's going to have it's like a little box that's going to hold it in, and it's going to lay down flat. So you might see this if you don't like that when we can we can just put a piece to cover that up. So if we're not sure, let's go ahead and we don't need to make a very big long piece. So let's go ahead and just add a piece. So and I'm just going to make it at the top. So I think I'm just kind of running rogue here. So I think what I'm going to do is just put, we could do that and make it match. I could just cut about a half an inch or an inch of that off and have it match up, because so we don't see that. But why don't I need those pieces, or we can just, where's the other? Hang on, let me get a piece of this piece right here. And I think what I'll do is just put this right here, and that will be just enough to cover that flap, and then we won't have to worry about that. So I think I'm just going to cut like a half an inch and just put it on there and glue it. And then this is, let's see what size this is right here. Now you could just make it, all right, this is 5 and 7, is this 5 and 7/8? Yeah, 5 and 7/8. Or you can put the whole piece down if you want to do it that way. I'm just going to put it alongside. So I'm going to cut this down to half an inch or so. Hang on, let me get my pieces. I don't want to lose my pieces here. This one? I don't think this one doesn't go. I know I'm talking to myself while I'm running rogue here. All right, so actually I have this piece right here, which will probably work. Oh, these are going the different direction. We don't want to do that. All right, so let's cut off like a half an inch. Let's do 5/8 of an inch. Let's just do that. That way we know we've got enough to tuck it under. We just want to cover up that top part of the flap. No biggie. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to glue that from here all the way over, and we're going to cut this down. So this needs to be at 5 7/8. So let me do that real quick. I know I seem like I'm kind of discombobulated, but I'm not. All right, so we want 5 7/8, so I'm going to cut it right there, just a little smidge off. This down, and then I think this should be enough to cover. Once we put this on here, I think that's going to be enough to cover. I'm just going to line it right up to the edge of here so that it equals the spaces. So there's the crease. I'm going to put it right like that so that you don't see this little flap. All right, so let's go ahead and add a little bit of adhesive to this, and then we're going to attach our piece that's going to hold our notebook. And as you can see, we're probably going to go over a little bit of time on, normally I do an hour, but this is probably going to go over a little bit, but that's okay. So we're going to leave a little gap at the top because I'm going to get this even with the piece over on the left side. And then we're going to push this down. I can move it over a little bit to the crease. And let's see, let's move over a little bit more. And this one is right on the fold. So I'm just going to lift this up, and I'm going to live on the edge and try to cut this straight. I think that's good. And we'll take this piece off. And we're not going to see that, so I'm not too concerned about that, okay? All right, so that's going to cover up that piece. Okay, now we're going to take the piece that is going to be our fold-in piece, and we are going to adhere our corners inside the box. All right, so we're going to put tear and tape on all 3 sides, and then this is going to fold down so that after it adheres, we've got it scored, so it's going to pop up to give us the room that we need to put our notebook inside of here, okay? And let's cut this off. I don't think we need the corners. We'll be fine. All right, so let's do this one. And I'm just putting it right in the center. I think you only need 1 piece, we'll be fine. Get it right almost to the edge. Okay, and then we're gonna put 1 piece at the bottom so that you can see that. Okay. All right, so let's take these off. Got it lifted up. Let's see if we can pull that off. And we'll do this one. I know it's quiet. Got to concentrate. This is something you don't want to have interruptions with, because it's, you know, it's not that hard really, but if you're doing it for the first time, and this is my second time, and I'm you see me, I'm doing a little bit of struggle, but it's okay. That's how we learn, right? Okay, so we have our 3 sides. So now what we're going to do is we're going to line this up in between our score lines, and then we probably should have added our paper first before, but I'm going to, actually, let's do that. I can leave this open. I'm not going to tuck that down yet. We'll just go ahead and add our paper on here. That will be fine. Let's go ahead and add this to the front of this, and then we'll adhere this. I think I did it the other way the last time, but let me move this out of the way. That way I don't get the glue on. All right, so this, and I love this paper. The other side, I really like that small, just looks very feminine. I'm just gonna get this covered with glue so we know it doesn't come off. All right, and my hands are covered in glue, so there you go. All right, so let's pull this guy in. This is the one that I just took the sides off of the tape. We're gonna just line this up at the bottom and make sure you've got your pattern going in the right direction, and we're gonna I'm gonna start with the left side and get it laid down, and then I can move the right side over as I need to. All right, there we go. I think that's perfect, and we'll just hold that up and push it down. Okay, there we go. Perfect, perfect. All right, I'm gonna lay this in. So I'm gonna lay the bottom part down towards the bottom. So I'm gonna try to line it up even with the paper on the left-hand side. So you wanna line it up in between your score lines basically, but I wanna get it to where it's gonna be even with the bottom. And if it's not, don't worry. So we're gonna I'm gonna put that down there, and I'm gonna hold, and I'm gonna go ahead and push the left side down, and we're flattening it, and I'm doing the right side as well. I'm gonna push it down, and hopefully we've got it in our corners. All right, there we go. And then this pops up, and that's where our book will go. Now I've got this over. Hang on, let me pull it back up because it's a little off. So I wanna make sure I've got it in here, right up against that score line, which I need to move this one over just a tad. And thank goodness the tear tape hasn't adhered yet. So I needed to move this a little bit over towards the score line. And they're gonna be really tight on the score lines, okay? All right, I think we're good with that. And then this pops up. And there's our, whoops, well, it does pop up as soon as I put my tape down here. All right, so we're gonna push that down, and this is gonna pop up. And that's gonna pop up, and there's where our book will go, right in that little pocket. See that right there? And this will just covers that up, so that's not a problem at all. And we've got this here, and it's not here adhering like it should, but that's okay, we're good. All right, so we just wanna make sure that's down nice and firm. Okay, now we're gonna take the next two pieces, and we're gonna add those to the side. And this is where I decided I was going to put one and one of each color. So I'm going to go ahead, now this one we're going to corner round because we've got that, right? So this is the one, I'm going to do the top and the bottom on the right side. And I'm going to push this in and make sure I've got it all the way in. And then I'll do the same thing with this one. All right, so we've got that in there. And then we'll go ahead and add this one. I think we're done with the corner rounder. Oh, no, we're not. We still need that. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our adhesive to this one. Now my glue's coming out. All right, so we're going to put this. I'm going to put this one right. Actually, I'm going to leave this one first. Hang on a minute. I'm going to put this one down because I want this side. I hate to cover this up, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to put the checkers on this side. So this will be up next to the spine. So it's going to be next to that purple piece. And we're just going to butt this up to the score line, to our little score line there. Make sure we've got it even at top and bottom, and smooth that down. And now we'll take this piece and we're going to add this. Now this is going to overlap just a little, which is fine. No one's going to notice the difference. I'm just going to line it up. Make sure I get it even right here. And we're going to put some ribbon on here. And we'll do that once we get the other part done. Okay, so we're going to put that there. Now we're going to fold this over, and then we'll do our sentiment. So, and add our ribbon. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to corner around the left sides. So we're going to go ahead and corner around this side. And we'll corner around this side. Never get rid of your corner rounders. You never know when you're going to need them. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and add this to our outside, and then we can add our sentiment once we get finished. So let me go ahead and add some adhesive on here. And I try to get this in the camera. I apologize if I'm coming off and on the camera. You know, when you're doing these projects like this, you forget you're recording and you're trying to keep it where it's comfortable for you, right? Forgetting I have an audience out there watching. Okay, so we're just going to put this on here, make sure it's nice and even, and slide this over just a little bit. All right, I'm going to slide just a little bit at the bottom. Make sure we got it straight. And I've got a little bit more. Hang on. Let me see if I can move this back over just a tad. All right, so there we go. That's how it's going to look. I think that's going to be pretty. All right, we're going to put some Lost Lagoon on here, ribbon, and I'm going to use this for two things. One, to give it a bow, and two, we're going to adhere it to that to the back of this ribbon so that it adheres, and then we'll tie a bow. So let me get enough on here that I know I have enough to tie a bow. So I'm going to wrap this around. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, and I think I'm going to go 4. I think I'm going to go a little bit, whoopsie, I'm going to go a little bit this way. All right, so let's see how we need to do this. We're going to put our sentiment. So I'm going to have the bow probably tied more in this direction, like down, because I'm going to put our sentiment right about here, and we'll tie it. So I think that's good. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to put, let's see, I want this in the center of our, we want to cover that flap, right? So let's take our tear and tape. So I'm going to put our tear and tape right in between the seam so that our ribbon will adhere to that. And then that way we've got our seam covered up, and it's not gonna, our ribbon's not gonna go flying off, okay? So let's get that on there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and peel this off. And use your take your pick tool if you have it. I usually use my paper snips, but for some reason I didn't. All right, so I know that this is what I need, so I'm gonna lay this right here, and that's gonna cover up that glue and cover up my seam. And I want to make sure I get all my adhesive covered so it doesn't stick to my book, right? So let me lift this up, and we've got a little bit right there, so I'm just going to move my ribbon over just a little bit, and move this one over just a little bit. Okay, so that's good. All right, so that's what we want. Let's get this a little bit straighter. At least we have the ability to do that, so it doesn't look too bad. I think that looks pretty good. And then we'll tie our bow. So we'll just come in here, and you can tie the bow wherever you want it. I'm going to put it right about here, and then I'll move it if I need to, but we'll leave it like this for now. I'm not going to cut any of this off until after I get the sentiment done, and I'm going to try to get my bow to go so it doesn't look so funky. So now we're going to decorate. I'm going to do something for the front. So let's take our notepad. Hang on a minute. Let's get our notepad in here, because we want to make sure that the notepad is in here before we try to put our Velcro on it too. And I'll give you the size of the Velcro things that you'll need. And let me push my book in there. All right, so that's in there. And then it's going to close like that. And then we're going to put a Velcro. So I think I'm going to put I'm going to eyeball this. And I'm going to put my Velcro probably right about, I'm going to put it right about here. So I'm going to put right where this flower is. I'm going to just put my snips right there so I know. And then I'm using the 3/8 inch, if you can see that, I'm sorry, 3/8 inch fasteners. They're Velcro fasteners. So we're going to take a top and a bottom out. So you always have a top and you have a bottom. One will snap into the other. So let's pull those out. And you can kind of feel one's soft, you know, and then the other side is not. So I usually just attach them so I can get my Velcro on there. And then I'm going to peel that off on one side, take it off my backing. And these are kind of attached, but you just tear it off. It's not a big deal. All right, and then I'm going to take this one, and we're going to move this over. Take that one off. And it's, you know, they're both stuck to this little plastic thing. And you can cut them apart if you'd like before you do that, but I'm just going to, they tear pretty easily. All right, so I know that's where I want my closure. So I'm going to I've put them both together. So they'll both be together. So that way when I close it, it will automatically adhere where it needs to go, right? So we're going to close it and make sure we've got everything the way we want it and push down. And then that should stick, and there you go. So now we'll have our closure. Push that down again so it sticks. So it gets it in the right spot where it needs to go. I've got it right near the ribbon, so I probably should have adjusted a little bit more, but that's okay. All right, so there we go. That's closed. All right, so now we just need to do our sentiment, and then I'll adjust my ribbon as we need to. The stamp set I am using is the Filled with Love, with Happiness. This carried over from last year, and I'm going to use the Just a Note. It says you're wonderful, I appreciate you. You can probably, you can either punch the whole thing out if you don't want that. I'm just going to do that. For Just a Note, or we have the one set that says Just a Note. So if you have those wordings or whatever you want to put on there, that's up to you. And this is going, we're going to use and I'm using Memento black ink. Okay. All right. And then this is the modern oval punch that we're going to use. So I'm going to push this down on here, and I'll make sure I've got room so I can get my punch in there. Oh, I should have done it the other way. Oh, well, that's all right. It'll work. It'll be okay. I'm letting it sit for just a minute. There we go. Perfect. All right, and then we just slide it in this way. It's no big deal. We'll make it work. And we'll just punch that out. So you just want to get it lined up. Let me look at it first. And I just smeared, I appreciate you. So hold on. We don't want to do that. Let's turn it over and do it again. I think I squished when I did my sentiment. I think I put too much ink on it. All right, let's try this again. I think yeah, that looks good. Don't want to do that again. Okay, let's try one more time. All right, this way, we can do it this way. Let's do it this way. All right, so let's push it down here. I'm giving it a good push. I have our glass mat underneath. There we go, perfect. That's a little bit better, isn't it? All right, so now we're going to slide this in and line this up, and we'll get it punched out. So give me just a second. It's nice that our ink dries pretty fast, right? So bear with me as I try to eyeball that we are in there straight and top and bottom. Not that I'm a big perfectionist, but I do want it to look somewhat, I think that looks good right about there. Let me get and I always hold my hand and hold it, but I don't push down just so I can look at it. I think that looks pretty good. So let's pop that out. And then we're going to add this to the top. And I'm going to put this on dimensionals. I'm going to put it right about there. So let me go ahead and make sure I've got my, let me close my Velcro. Once I glued it down on the back, you can't move it. So we're going to have to play with this to get it exactly how we want it to go. So let's do that way, this way. There we go. That way it's getting straight. I'm going to push my tail through, pull it out. This is funny. Do this on camera and it looks like you don't know what you're doing. Well, oh, there we go. I do know what I'm doing. Okay, all right, so I think that's good enough. I don't want to make it much bigger. So let me get my ribbon scissors and we will cut the tails off, and then we will attach our sentiment. So I'm just going to cut these, a slight tail, not a real big one. And let's cut this one this way. Nope, that doesn't look good. Let's do it this way. All right, now the next thing we need to do is attach some dimensionals to the back of our thing. Now this is going to stay down, and if you want to pull this off, I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive here just to hold this in place. It should hold in place when I put the dimensionals on the back of this. Again, I'm using I'm probably going to do it to where I put it on the side of the ribbon. Now that I think about it, I will glue that piece down. So I'm going to put this on the side. And that way the ribbon, we'll put some on both sides. There we go. All right, so the ribbon will go through here, and then it'll sit just like that. Now we can glue this down if you want to tack that down. If not, don't worry about it. So let's go ahead and take this off. And I think we'll be done here in just a few moments. Well, it's not too bad. So we're going to put this, I'm going to put this right here. And once you get it where you want it, I think I'll put it right there. I think that's going to look fine. I should have done that in purple now that I think about it. That probably would have looked pretty in purple. Let's do a retake. Let me get the Gorgeous Grape. We'll do Gorgeous Grape or Highland Heather. Let's do Highland Heather and see how that looks. I'm changing things up a little bit. Sorry. Okay, let me clean my thing real quick, and then we'll just punch this again. No big deal. You know, before I glue that down, I want to make sure I get it right. The color looks right. And it might be that the Gorgeous Grape, this is Highland Heather, so let's see how this does. This might be fine, but I'm thinking the dark grape might look better. But let's see. Yeah, this might work. Let me just close this up real quick. I just stuck my finger in that. All right, let's see. I think this is going to look better. Actually, I think the, now this one I can see because I've got it gone in sideways. So I can try to get a better handle on it being straight. And I think I did. All right, so let's try that. Okay, I think the Highland Heather looks good. I think I'm gonna go with that. We're just gonna put our, I'm just gonna put the strips on the side of the ribbon. All right, and we'll put a little dimensional right there. Okay. And, you know, you can always re-stamp it and just cover up the thing if you decide you want to change it later, right? Okay, so I think I got all that off. Everything's in. So let's go ahead and attach that. Make sure we got that. We're going to attach that right there. And there we go. There is our note card cover. I'm going to keep that one for something later. All right, so there is our book. Isn't that cool? So here we go. We're going to open it up. Open it up. We have all our beautiful colors, and here is our notepad right here, and our different colors there. And we just close it up, push down on our Velcro, and there you go. It's going to make a great gift. All right, so I hope you all have enjoyed this. Make sure you leave me some comments so that I can check. I'm sure hopefully we'll have some internet while we're on the cruise ship. We're going on a cruise to Copenhagen and Norway. But anyways, so I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you so much for spending your Tuesday evening with me. And I will be back around the 18th or 19th of this month. So we have one more Facebook Live that I'll probably be recorded. Thanks again, everyone. I greatly appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure that you share. And I'll see you when I return. Thanks again. Bye now.